Welcome to Welcome to Guff Stuff Podcast Weekly. This is Guff.
I'm Javen.
And this week, Javen has no clue what we're talking about. I probably don't have any clue what we're talking about.
I'm in the dark yet again.
But what I want to talk about is that beep there that just happened. Or I want to talk about game launchers and your favorite ones. Game launchers like Steam, Ubisoft, GOG,
God,
Galaxy.
man.
Oh,
I have some strong opinions on that.
That's what we want to hear about that then.
Okay.
So let's go. What's your favorite game launcher?
Steam.
Yeah. Why is that? Because it's the oldest and the most polished, right?
One is ubiquitous.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty much the game launcher.
It is all encompassing. There's PlayStation, there's Xbox, there's all this, and then in my mind, there's Steam.
Yeah.
Like you can include Steam in the major quote unquote consoles because it's like Nintendo,
right? Xbox,
PlayStation, Steam. Yeah. I just think of
it's just one of its own. It's its own entity.
No, don't get me wrong. GOG and other ones like that are fine, but it's just nice to have everything in one spot. And the tools that you get with Steam are nice.
Right.
They've come a long way with like their integrated voice, their threads, their chats, their emoticons, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of just fun stuff you didn't really need, but
and decent accessibility tools too.
Right. It just adds some flavor to the whole launcher itself.
The fact that you can limit download speeds and upload speeds, choose what server you want to go to, all that fun stuff. It's really nice and very accessible.
Right. The reason I brought it up is because not even 10 years ago, probably 5 years ago, there was just Steam.
Well, you had Battle.net. That's been around for a long time. Right.
Well, that was a Blizzard specific thing. There was nothing other than World of Warcraft, Diablo, and StarCraft. That was it.
And then, well, there was Windows Live, which if you played any of the Bethesda games, like Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and you bought them on CD-ROM.
Oh, no, I played them all on PlayStation.
On PlayStation. See, I played Fallout 3 on release on PC.
Okay.
And it was through Windows Live.
Right. I don't think I have that.
Which now has become integrated with Xbox Live. I believe they are essentially the same thing. Or it's Xbox for Windows now, or whatever it is.
I'm pretty sure I played on the PC too, but I don't recall that I had to have a subscription or a game launcher. I don't know. I know that it wasn't that long ago, there was only a couple.
Mm-hmm.
And now, Ubisoft, EA, Epic, GOG, Amazon. I mean, all these companies. Twitch has
its own.
Yeah, they all have their own. Yeah, it's Amazon twice. Yeah. Like, why do they need two game launchers? Like, what the heck?
But I think the main reason that, and this is just me guessing.
Yep.
And I could be completely wrong, but I don't feel like I am. Is that a lot of these? What's that?
Yep. Bless you. I think he's having a convulsion. Oh, nice. Okay, that's not good.
Anyways,
oof.
I think I've recovered. Kind of.
I'm not sure I'm going to recover from that one. Ouch.
My mental image isn't very good.
No, that's bad. Okay, so we're talking about.
So back to what I was saying. I think a lot of the reason why they want you to play their games on proprietary launchers is for their own analytics, because data is worth so much now.
Right. So do you think Steam sells their data? Or do you think they just keep it for their own use?
I think both. But there are websites that you can go to that track Steam data.
Yeah.
Because it is accessible.
Right.
But I'm not exactly sure how you go about getting into it.
The funny thing about Steam is it was created basically by accident.
I didn't know that.
Well, back in the day, Half-Life was a big game, right?
Yeah.
And they wanted to, as far as, if I recall correctly, and I could be completely wrong, but because it's a long time ago, the company, Valve, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Valve wanted a place to put their games so they could do updates. And
stuff like Counter-Strike.
Right, yeah. They're old games where they could have them all in one place so you could do their updates.
TF2,
because their games were pretty huge back in the day, but they didn't have any one place to do all the updates. And their back then websites were just they were talking 15, 20 years ago.
Okay.
Websites were not very reliable as far as all that goes. So they come up with this thing we'll just throw our games here and we'll call them good. And then other companies are like, hey, can we do it? Can we put can I put our stuff on there? And they're like, yeah, since Half-Life 2 is not going to come out for another 20 years, I suppose.
Yeah.
Might as well. I mean, I don't even know if they produced any games lately. I mean,
Half-Life Alyx came out.
Right, but I mean, like,
then
they used to produce a lot of games.
Yeah, Valve used to be like a
big game
company, and now it's more of a
platform company. Like,
it's a platform company and a hardware company.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then all of a sudden you go into the stores and you find on the back of your box it requires Steam. You're like, what the heck? I was mad because you used to be able to buy games, install them, and then you could network with your friends locally as long as you still had that CD you could put in the drives.
Yeah.
So it would recognize you own a copy. You couldn't play over networks or over the internet with people, but that was fine. We just had a family that liked to play games. But then I think it was just kind of an accident, and then it just exploded, and it literally went from 0 to 1 million
overnight,
like pretty much overnight.
Yeah,
like the local game stores used to have CDs, and they were all just there. Pretty soon they were selling CDs, but you had to have Steam to download anything to activate the game.
Yeah,
and now it's pretty much, I mean, anybody who owns a PC. Okay. Pretty much that's where you get your games from.
Let me ask you this. Since we're on the topic of Steam.
Yeah.
Do you think that Steam has a monopoly? Is that like in your periphery? Because there's been a lot of like negative publicity for Steam because quote unquote they have a monopoly and they can choose who publishes on their platform and stuff like that.
Right. But I think go ahead.
I do want to point out there are like systems and checks in place around that.
Right.
With the, like it used to be called the Greenlight program.
Yeah.
I don't know if they still do that or not.
I don't know if
basically like if a game got enough petition signers, it would be allowed on Steam.
Yep. Yeah, I know.
They just allow whatever on Steam now, as far as I know.
Right, and I would say yes if there was a monopoly. In the term of monopoly, Steam is probably pretty close.
Okay.
It's probably bigger than most companies would imagine.
Yeah.
But to be fair, there are other companies out there that do similar things, like Roblox. It's the most underestimated company in the history of the world, I believe. The gaming company, because it's huge. Roblox is nothing but huge. They've had 30 million concurrent users at times.
Wow.
That's ridiculous.
That's crazy, yeah.
That's you go like, and I'm not trying to go bounce around here, but at one point I was watching my daughter play a game that was basically Counter-Strike or Call of Duty or one of the shooter games. And at one point, she logged in and she's like, there are like 38 million people playing this game right now.
Wow.
Across the world. Because Roblox is not just a US thing.
No, it's
a world thing.
It's huge, yeah.
And it's like
very popular in Europe.
Yeah. And it ends up being the guy who made this game, this clone of another popular game, was just a college student trying to pay his way through. Oh, of course he's going to be a millionaire overnight because he's selling skins and guns and But anyway, back to the Steam thing. The monopoly is, I would say yes with the companies that are out there right now because everybody, even Epic and them, like you download a game through Ubisoft, through Steam. They want you to log in their Ubisoft, but you don't have to. Yeah. They want you to because they'll pop it up. Hey, log into us too. No. And that's just literally for tracking. I believe that you're right. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
But like you said, Steam has a lot of checks and balances, and I don't think they bully themselves. I don't think they bully too much. They had active shooter on there, which is, I mean, yes, now it's an explicit video, or a podcast, but it was literally a school shooting game. You're a bad guy running around school shooting people. Yeah, people were upset, but Steam's like, hey, we're an open platform. People can put their games on. You don't like them, leave bad reviews, and that's it. Like,
well, and then
I think they did remove that game at one point.
The other thing I like, but there's also like negative publicity about it too.
Yeah,
is Steam's I'll call it pseudo transparency.
Yeah,
insofar as if a game is bad, it will have negative reviews.
Oh yeah,
and you can't really do anything about it.
No, it's no, they're there.
Overwatch 2 is a great example.
Yeah.
Overwatch 2 just released on Steam 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And it's at a 9% positive review.
That's not.
You would have never, ever, ever seen Blizzard publish that number. ever.
No, Blizzard would never even mention it.
Like, you'd have to go to the forum. Like, it wouldn't even appear.
I would bet right now Blizzard's kicking themselves.
Oh, yeah. Blizzard.
They're like, man, we should have left this completely on Battle.net. But they didn't, so.
They didn't. And quite honestly, it's kind of divine justice at this point.
Right. I like Steam is thinking it, the reviews is like the Amazon of the gaming world.
So
I like the review system.
The negative side of that is that Steam does have a thing in place that if people like review bomb something, they don't weight it as much, I believe, or at least there was for a while where they were like censoring review bombs.
I don't know anything about it. I'd never heard it.
At least that's my understanding.
Right.
But now I don't think they do that. I think what they do is they show you the analytics and say,
right,
from this date to this date, it all had negative reviews.
Right.
It was a wide array of negative reviews, which is transparent in and of itself because it lets you know that, for the last 3 months, this game developer has shut down this game essentially. On something very shady.
Yeah. That happens. Yes. Yeah. So Steam is a monopoly in my opinion, but I don't think it's one of those bad things. I think they could make it bad. I think when they start controlling everything. Mm-hmm. But on the other hand, you got to weigh that the good things that will come out of it. One, it's make gaming accessible to anybody with a computer.
Yes.
And you don't have to have all the AAA titles. You can have indie games that will run on your low cheap end Chromebook.
Yeah, you can run your Caves of Touch.
Yeah, you can run the basic game on this. And it gives you access, which you didn't have before, because you'd have to find independent developers, download it off a sketchy site.
Yeah.
Steam's like, I've never had an issue with any Steam games. And if you don't like the game, within the first couple hours, you can return it.
Yeah, that's the thing a lot of people abuse, but some people utilize.
Right, I utilize it, and I've only ever done it maybe twice. I've bought a lot of games, like 300 games or so, or whatever. And I know you've done it, bought a lot of games. I don't know if you returned any.
I've returned quite a few, yeah.
But I like that it's brought everybody together. And then they have sales. And
the sales are a huge boon.
And companies are in on it because Ubisoft will have their sale. EA has their sales.
Now we're doing the Bethesda sale.
Yeah, Bethesda has their sales. All these huge companies have their sales on Steam. And you can buy piles of games that you maybe didn't want to buy, or just because I don't want to pay $70 for, Skyrim. Mm-hmm. They're like, well, hey, we'll give you Skyrim, Daggerfall, Morrowind, and Elder Scrolls for
$5.
For $5.
Yeah.
Oh, well, sign me up, boss. I'll do it. So I guess, right now, it is what it is. Other companies are going to keep them honest because, you have GOG, you have Amazon, you have all these other launchers that offer free games, and Microsoft.
Well, sometimes they offer versions of games that are better, too.
Yeah.
Like, there are certain instances where, Heroes of Might Magic 3 is a great example.
Yep.
You can only find one version of it on Steam.
Yeah.
You can't find the version with all the extra DLCs and stuff, but you can find it on GOG.
Yeah. Or Ubisoft. Ubisoft.
Okay.
That's where I have my copy. I have one on Steam too, I believe. Of course, I have a hard disk too, but who has a disk drive anymore?
Yeah. I haven't built a computer with a disk drive. Or
computer
with a disk
drive. I don't. It's
my 10 years maybe.
No, me either. I think my wife wanted to buy a USB one just in case, but I'm like, okay, well, we'll buy one when we need it, and it's been years. We have never needed one. So yeah. So are there any launchers that you think have a chance of at least competing somewhat?
Well, I don't use it because I don't appreciate or respect the way that they've went about. Like, I think console exclusivity is a stupid idea.
Yeah.
Personally.
No, I agree. Yeah.
Ever since it
makes no sense.
Back when I was much younger and I wanted to play the Ratchet and Clank games, I didn't have a PS2.
Yeah.
So I wasn't playing the Ratchet and Clank games. It was that simple. And
super fun games.
Nintendo's bad with it too.
They're getting better
for their exclusivity.
Well,
but you'll never find a Legend of Zelda game.
No, not yet. Not yet. But they have let other game companies now publish on them, which they never used to do.
Yeah.
You couldn't play Dark Souls on Nintendo.
Yeah.
But Nintendo's like, or Skyrim now you can get. You could. I think that's just a sign that they see. And I tell you what, Nintendo may be the most underrated company in the world. Watch what they're doing, because they're trend-setting people. They will set trends. I believe at some point, just because they started adding that that at some point they're going to open up their stuff because they know. I tell you what, how much more money would they make if they could sell Mario on Xbox or Steam or a PlayStation or a phone? If you could download Mario World on your phone, I would play the piss out of it on my phone because it would be one of those games that doesn't require big, huge TV screens to enjoy. Because I played that thing on an old, like 14-inch CRT back in the day.
I'm pretty sure I played it on a 5-inch screen.
Yeah, right, like a little black and white screen that you're like. You could play, like you could, and I would almost bet. I don't know how many years. I don't know if I'll be alive when they do it, but I would bet maybe within 10 years. So I should be alive still. That we see
Nintendo, Xbox.
Yeah, PlayStation has kind of started balking a little. They let God of War go to other things, and Nintendo started letting other companies put on their platform. I think they'll always have Super Mario Party exclusives, but I think that they might start letting some of their older stuff go because they can re-monetize.
Well, and part of the thing that's happened is like a great example is oh my god, I just had it in my head. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. Okay. So like The Legend of Zelda.
Yep. Oh.
So, it's a unique style of game.
Yeah, it is. It's the Breath of the Wild.
There's nothing else quite like it. But there are game companies now that are developing games that are
clones,
and they're publishing them on everything.
Yep.
And so what's happening is Nintendo's probably realizing that they're missing out.
Yeah.
And this gets into like exclusivity and stuff that's not quite on topic.
No. Well, I mean, it has to go with games.
It's in the periphery.
Platforms. Yeah. It has to go with the launchers.
But as far as like proprietary launchers, like circle back to the question that I never did quite answer, in that what do I think can compete? I think GOG has found its niche.
Yep.
And it can't compete with Steam, but it can definitely
fill a void.
Fill a void, and it's like I guess maybe it can compete. It's not going to ever knock Steam out.
No, because good old GOG doesn't really. I mean, I guess now they've started doing more of the AAA titles, the newer ones.
Yeah.
But their specialty was literally finding games that were published on floppy disk and CDs back in the day, and making them ones that were all like you had to have a CD code and porting them over so you don't have to have that code anymore. Well, you still have to have a code, but it's GOG code now.
Yeah, and then the other one is Epic, which we touched on a little bit, and that's where the whole exclusivity thing got.
Yeah.
And Epic, and you don't see very many Epic exclusives as much as you were.
No,
because I think Epic realized, actually not even just Epic, but the game companies realized that Epic might give us $1 million to publish for 2 years, but after that 2 years, we're going to sell the game at 50% on Steam when we could have sold it at 100% on Steam for 2 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's one of those things, and it's been an interesting journey. I use a couple of them. I do Amazon Game Studio because they're in line with Twitch, and so Twitch, if you have a Twitch Prime subscription, for the audience people, you can get a lot of free games. And these are old AAA titles, not all. I mean, there's a lot of indie games too.
Yeah.
But like, I just got Baldur's Gate 2 remastered for free.
Yep.
Like, I could have bought that on Steam. I could have bought it anywhere, but I didn't because I still had the originals from the old day. But I'm like, why not? I might as well download it. Well, to do that, you had to have the game launcher. So I'm like, well, and I already claimed a whole bunch of games from their other stuff. I played New World. That's on game launchers. So.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't. Like I said, I don't. Like you said, I don't think there's too many companies that are going to put Steam down, if ever. At least not for a long time, because Steam is pretty. Like you said, Xbox, Steam, PlayStation, Nintendo. It's just one of the big companies now that's
weaseled its way into the big.
It's great, and
the big four, if you will.
So I don't know. I think that unless there's more you want to say about it, I'm happy with where we've been with this.
Yeah, I think I'm fine with it too.
Okay. So. Alrighty. Well, if you have any comments or questions, or we missed something, feel free to let us know. Till next time.
Bye.